understanding what's out there. And it's similar to game planning for whatever sport it is you're coaching. Like you have to be successful in anything, you have to plan, you have to know your opponent, you got to be aware of your surroundings. My name is Jim Buck, and I'm the Director of Athletics and Recreation here at Loyalist College. So I grew up in a small town in southwestern Ontario called Stratford. It's a great little city. It was a great little city to grow up in. Most of our time was just spent, outside the house. You weren't really welcomed in the house during the day in the summertime. So you just found ways to fill in the time, and we were always up to something, riding our bikes or, playing games and just out, having fun and seeking adventure. We'd ride our bikes as 10, 12, 13-year-old kids, and be my oldest brother and I and a couple of other kids in the neighborhood, and we'd ride our bikes, and we would literally in the summertime stay away for sleep out overnight for 1, 2, or 3 nights. And parents had a rough idea where you were, but they weren't coming out and checking on you. When I was young, I played hockey, got a chance to play some soccer. Eventually, basketball became a real sport of interest. I enjoyed being kind of a multi-sport athlete. I think that was important. Like, my siblings didn't play sports. My 3 sisters weren't involved in athletics. Neither one of my parents had any involvement there or interest, really. Luckily, I found sports and I was okay at everything I tried, and I just developed a passion. I was not a great student. I was an okay student, and I had to learn, eventually that, hey, you got to up it to stay involved in athletics. And eventually in high school, I figured out that I wanted to be a phys ed teacher, and so that was the route I went. Ultimately, out of sport later in life, what I learned is that I wanted to have a positive impact on whoever I coached and could be around, and that hopefully that helped them become better athletes, and more importantly, better people. And I think that I've certainly seen some of the results of that. I was living in Alberta at the time. I was going to school out there, studying phys ed, and for the summers, 2 summers that I was out there, I had got a job as fighting forest fires. And so I had always kind of liked seeing nature and reading National Geographics, and didn't really have a camera, but I bought my first camera when I was working for the forestry that summer, and of course it was film, and I just started learning, and it had a fixed lens on it, so certainly nothing to zoom in with, but to me it was the start to start seeing, okay, what can I capture, what can I learn, when I try and learn as much as I can about habitat of wildlife, and understanding what's out there. And it's similar to game planning for whatever sport it is you're coaching. Like you have to be successful in anything, you have to plan, you have to know your opponent, you got to be aware of your surroundings, all that type of things. I've been a competitive person most of my life, and I don't play anything obviously anymore. I haven't for a long time at that competitive level. I don't coach anymore, so I do find that there is a competitive nature inside me still, and getting the shots that I envision, and just finding wildlife. But it's just that sense of being outdoors, and just reflecting on what life's given you, and enjoying sort of that peace and quiet, just solitude and relaxation time that I get, that outdoors provides. I have a lot of friends that have retired, and some have struggled with it. And I think for me, it's been on my mind for a couple years, and I was looking at going just before probably the year that COVID hit was one of the years that I was thinking, oh, maybe I'll go this year. But my wife and I had good conversations about it, and she said to me, like, she said, Jim, I really don't think you want to go out not having another season and being around the student athletes that you love and the coaches, and just like end on COVID and working from home. And she was right. I just hadn't like totally made that realization. But then going into this year, like, I knew 100%. I'd made up my mind early on, and to be honest with you, I haven't looked back at all. Like, I'm totally at peace with it. I've been looking at things that we're looking at doing in the fall this year that I haven't been able to do. Fall's a great time of year for photography and wildlife and just touring around the stuff. I've got some books I want to read, and just little everyday things that often you take for granted or you rush through and whatever. So yeah, there's lots I'm gonna miss, but there's new adventures awaiting me out there, and I'm quite excited about that, and I'm looking forward to it.